Hello. Welcome to the Kickoff and Beyond show. I'm Eric here with Alvi, and on today's episode, we're gonna go over the Champions League draw, talk about how the scheduling is gonna work for it, and kind of just give our overall thoughts on it. How do you feel about this new phase or this new era of Champions League now that they're not doing groups anymore? They're doing this Swiss model. What's your opinion on it? Because I know people are. It's like very divisive right now.
I just think people are kind of confused by it right now. I think it's better from what I've seen.
I think
I
so
like
too.
that. Yeah. I like that it's like a lot more football. It's not like just playing the same three teams until we get like the top two per group. But it looks like it's not such an easy road for like a lot of the bigger teams now.
Oh, I know.
Like
Uh,
like Paris got destroyed in the drawings.
Oh, dude, yeah, and we're gonna talk about the drawings in a little bit, but yeah, Paris, Liverpool's another one that has a pretty rough schedule.
But I like the setup that you play the eight teams. You don't play the
I do
same
too.
person twice.
I think it's more interesting because uh, for the last handful of years that I watched Champions League, you pretty much in each group you pretty much knew the winner of the group, and
Yeah.
only in a couple of the groups were like the runner up debatable. But
Yeah.
mostly everyone kind of knew who was gonna move on, because you would
Yeah.
have like a Real Madrid, and then you would have I don't know, say like PSG, and then you would have like Young Boys and some other like really like just some team that every you're like there's no way that they're gonna move on. Like
No, yeah. Like right now I was reading a tweet from Football Meets Data that after like running I guess it was like 10,000 simulations that to be guaranteed a top 8 spot you need to try to reach 15 points, which I think is pretty hard cuz that's like what 5 games you have to win.
that's 5 out of the 8.
Yeah, so it's
That's
not like
that's crazy.
yeah.
That's essentially having
So
to go perfect.
yeah, so if let's say like Man City ties a couple games and they don't reach it, they might have to fight in the playoff round. So that's why I like it. That's why I like the new setup. I feel like you don't know what's gonna happen. You know, it's football. It's just one game.
Yeah, I also I like that little playoff thing that they have for the bottom, everyone below the eight spot. Um, just because
Ninth to
I
24th.
yeah, and I always kind of felt like like in the old Champions League, the third place teams would go to like Europa, and I always kind of felt like it was kind of like rewarding bad like teams for losing. You know what I mean? Like by putting them in a different tournament. Because I heard that for this version of it at least, if you lose out on Champions League, that's it. Like there's no second tries or going into like Europa League or whatever. And I think that's cool because it really makes these people have to or some of these teams care to get as far as possible because there's no I don't know, like parachute payments. There's no way to oh well, we can just go here instead.
No, yeah, no, yeah. I'm super excited. I can't wait to see when it starts
Oh, I know,
because
same.
the schedule is not out yet, right?
Not
Yeah, I think
necessarily. We just all we know is where each team's playing for home and away games,
yeah.
but I don't think we know the necessarily the order.
So, what do you think about the draws?
Um, so I didn't I've been reading online about people who actually watched the Champions League draws, and apparently it was very boring. And people didn't like it, but they're like, "Hey, if you support one of these top nine clubs, or the teams in pot one, it was great because you basically just it took like 15 minutes or whatever, and you're like in and out." But uh, but I think it's honestly when I was looking through uh everyone's schedules and stuff. By the way, it's a lot to digest. When I first saw it, I'm like, God, because you're looking at every team and every team's schedule, and it's like a lot of information to kind of take in all at once. But just looking at the top teams, the, like we talked about before, excluding maybe like two teams that got kind of fucked. Everyone else, it's pretty even. Like there's games that they can win, and then there's games that you go, you know.
Yeah,
and it makes it more interesting because there's like it seems balanced. Like for these top teams, there's like probably like two games out of the eight games that are like just gimmies. Most of them
yeah.
are gonna be like 50-50 or like, oh, they should be able to beat them, but hey, like an injury happens. Maybe they got a bad fixture in their like domestic league, and that can play a whole part into like how far these teams get, or because just imagine if you have like an El Clasico, and then the week prior, or the Wednesday or Thursday prior, you have a Champions League game. It's like, well, what do you do? You know, like where what's more important, because you can't you don't want to run your players into the ground.
Another thing that I saw is that since you're not playing the same team twice, they're trying to take away the tactics. Like like you see them once, and then you get to adjust your strategy. So they're trying to take that away as well from teams.
I kind of like that though, because a lot of times, especially in like the first games for this home and away, a lot of times they can be kind of boring, or vice versa. Like the first game they'll score or whatever, but then if like a team has like a 1 goal lead, they will just park the bus the whole game if they want to. You know what I mean? And it creates this like weird, like it's like, oh Jesus Christ, like
So and people are kind of comparing it. There's like, oh, there's like UEFA's answer to like
Super
the
League.
Super League. Yeah,
Right, yeah. Which I mean, look, okay, full disclosure, I'm American. So I don't understand, but like I understand why it's bad. I understand all that. I've learned about it. But like I don't know, I think people are just too like you can't just be like no changes for anything, Like
yeah,
I think that this probably works better. Well, and we'll see. Maybe it doesn't just on paper. To me, as an ignorant American who doesn't know the ins and outs of football and didn't live and breathe it like Europeans do, this looks more entertaining on the surface. And as a sport, and we've seen it here in America with like baseball, who for years refused to change, and to the detriment of their sport. But then but then you have like the basketball that maybe you can like argue that maybe they went too far by trying to change like everything about the sport essentially, and stuff. So like yeah, changes can be bad. I've seen it as a basketball fan. I've seen it, when they change rules or they change uh things about it or whatever. But I think you got to give these things like chances.
yeah. You gotta embrace change. I feel like change is not always a bad thing. Yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah, I just feel bad for the players because I know that they're going to be the ones that are going to suffer.
Yeah,
Like I've always thought that it's kind of insane how much football players play. They're playing from like August till May or June,
yeah,
basically
or
getting
even more.
like 2 or 3 months off, and that's if there's not Euros, if there's not a World Cup, if there's not any sort of like like tournament for their national team. And a lot
Yeah,
of
and
times,
those like weird cups, like the Audi cups, and
oh yeah, and like friendlies and stuff, and they do the USA tours, or they'll go to like Asia or whatever. So it's a lot of times these guys only get like a month off, and then have to go right back to playing more games. But I guess we'll just go into the drawings. Um, we're just gonna talk about basically the pot one teams. Because if we talked about every team in their schedule, we'd be here basically all night. So we're gonna focus on the pot one teams, give our kind of thoughts. I'm gonna just read out because I have it in front of me. So I'm just gonna read out the games, the 8 games for each team, and then we'll just kind of give our thoughts. So we'll start with Real Madrid's schedule. So they got Borussia Dortmund, they got Liverpool, AC Milan, Atalanta, RB Salzburg, how do you say it? Leo?
yeah, I think it's low.
Leo, Stuttgart and Brest?
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, Man, this is
Yeah.
gonna be fun. That was the first line, and it's gonna be great because there's harder names down the list. All right.
No,
Anyways,
yeah.
this is a pretty balanced schedule. Like, obviously, like the further down the pots you go, like everything from I think the three games that well, okay, as a Real Madrid like fanatic, I would say the only two like hard games where there's possibility they can lose or draw is Dortmund and Liverpool. Basically, I think every other team are beatable, and especially once you get to like Lille, Stuttgart, and stuff like that, those are should be gimmies.
But like I said, like they have to win. It can't be like a tie because then it's not guaranteed their top 8 spot.
Mm,
And Atalanta
Yeah,
is also the Europa League champions.
yeah, but Real Madrid we beat them already in the Super Cup in the beginning of the season. But oh my god, real quick, I'm gonna give a little aside real quick. I won't go too deep into it, but Real Madrid just they drew today, and they've only won one game in La Liga this so far, and they drew two of them. I'm worried that, and I'm gonna definitely blame Kylian Mbappe because I don't see on I don't understand why. Like I don't know. I'm getting a little panicky. I still understand that like we got the talent. I think we'll be fine anyways. It's a long season, but boy, that didn't help.
Did you
Drawing
watch
to
the
Las
game
Palmas.
or
No, I just saw the because I was at work, so I just saw the score, and I was like, "What? We were down 1-0 at halftime, and then
oof?
we got the equalizer sometime towards the end."
And who
But
was the
it's
one
like,
that
oh,
scored? Penalty, Vinicius Jr.
oh, so we got bailed
Oof.
out by the refs.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's just it worries me with this whole Kylian Mbappe experiment. Had a
yeah,
promising start after the Super Cup win. It looked like, oh man, like we're gonna eat it. Like we're gonna like take over the league.
yeah,
Um, and once the league started, it hasn't gone great. So
yeah.
we'll see. But so yeah, so for to end the Real Madrid thing, so like, do you see any of the games that
I don't know
you know?
if they're tying with Las Palmas. Oof, you guys need to work on some things before Champions League because I think the first
Yeah,
four aren't as easy as if it was like the old Real Madrid. It would have been like 8-0. It would have been like the end of their fucking 8 games. Right now, I feel like these matches, or at least the first four, are going to be pretty tight. I think it might be pretty hard for them. It's not going to be super easy. I might be wrong though.
no.
They might like get their mojo back and like
I mean, Champions League
4-0 everyone.
historic, yeah, historically, Real Madrid does well. Even if they don't do well in the Liga, they seem to always just turn it on. It's like their tournament, you know.
Yeah,
So stranger things have
but I don't know.
happened.
I don't know. Maybe Mbappe could be like the Harry Kane for Real Madrid.
Oh no, that's what I was worried about. I thought about that too today when I saw the score. I was like, "Oh no, are we gonna be this year's like Bayern
Bayern.
Munich?"
Yeah.
Like, oh no, this is gonna be terrible. I'm gonna cry.
No, but so then we have Man City with Inter, Paris, Club Brugge. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Bruga.
Juventus. Yeah. Uh, Feyenoord, Sporting, Sparta, and Bratislava.
That
It
last team I
should
don't
be pretty
understand.
easy. Yeah, that one it should be a pretty easy 8 games for them.
Yeah, apparently Juventus is doing pretty all right so far in Serie A. So they can be kind of a sneaky team.
Yeah,
Inter will probably give them the most challenge. Paris, I think, low key, I think is another one that's like might be sneaky good.
yeah,
Like they might like just like because they don't have Mbappe anymore, so they got to play as a team completely.
yeah.
So
And
they might
they
surprise
actually
people.
did pretty well over the weekend, if I remember correctly. 6-0. They're playing pretty good from what I've seen. So, but they also have a really tough group, or they have a tough league phase with Man City, Bayern, Atleti, Arsenal, PSV, Salzburg, Girona,
Girona
and Stuttgart.
And Girona is a sneaky pot four team because they were second in the league or third in the league in La Liga
Yeah,
last year. So even though they're in pot four with all the other like sort of like lower like teams, uh, they're like a sneaky good team.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, RIP to Paris. I feel basically all these games are gonna be battles. Maybe Stuttgart, like they should be able to beat them
I think they're
handily,
just
but
gonna be tired
every
towards
other
the end.
game is every other
Yeah,
game is gonna suck for them. Uh,
yeah.
then we got Bayern Munich schedule. They got Paris, they got Barcelona, Benfica, Shakhtar, Dynamo, Feyenoord, Bratislava, and Aston Villa. Not too bad.
So
This is another one of those like I say like it's kind of like with Real Madrid, like this like half and half. You know, like four games I feel like are winnable, are just easily winnable, and then the other four I think are gonna be like more battled.
yeah, I think so as well. I feel like I don't know. I'm kind of pretty big on Aston Villa this year.
I am
They
too.
seem pretty good.
For Bayern Munich, my four teams that I feel like are gonna be like good games and battles would basically be Paris, Barcelona, Benfica, and then Aston Villa.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree with those. Yeah,
um,
I don't know too much about the other ones to be honest, like the lower
yeah. To be
teams.
honest, I don't know. Historically, they don't do very like
Yeah,
too well. So
yeah. So then that brings us to Liverpool with Real Madrid, Leipzig, Leverkusen, Milan, Lille, PSV, Bologna, and Girona. That sounds like Real Madrid is tough and Leverkusen are like tough. Again, I think
yeah,
these three, like the first four matches, I don't know if that's the schedule, but the first four teams that they showed, they look pretty tough.
yeah.
Uh,
And like I said, and Girona is another. You know, is again like a sneaky good team. PSV is always like they do good and they don't. So like it just depends on what version of PSV you get.
yeah,
AC Milan can go kind of either way. I don't know how they're doing in Serie A right now, but like last year, I had higher hopes for them, and then they didn't win.
yeah,
They got third place in their group, so like I don't know what to make of them.
yeah,
Uh, but for sure, Leverkusen and Real Madrid obviously are like those are like giant games, you know.
yeah. And there's also a new coach with Liverpool, so that's gonna be a pretty good test for him.
Yeah. I think they probably like where Real Madrid and Bayern Munich kind of got this like 50-50 split. I think Liverpool has a more easier schedule. I feel like more like, and I say easier by just maybe like one or two teams, but they definitely got on like the better end.
I
I
think so.
feel, especially given like Paris is on the other end where like they're just like
Yeah,
kind of
they.
screwed.
Did you
Um,
see the video of the president reacting to the drawings?
no.
He was like super scared. You can see like his face, like what the fuck is going on?
Oh my goodness,
He was
that's
like
hilarious.
surprised, disgusted. But yeah, so yeah, compared to PSG, Liverpool has it much easier. But I saw PSV is actually doing pretty well this year.
Oh,
Haven't
are
dropped the
they?
game. Goal difference 12.
Oh, so they might again. So they might be like a sneaky good
Yeah,
team, you know?
yeah. For Inter, we have Leipzig, Man City, Arsenal, Leverkusen. I think those four are those are tough. Uh, we have another team, Young Boys, Monaco, and Sparta. I don't know how to pronounce that at all.
Wait, hold on, wait, I got this. Uh, Krenvena, Z, Zavita, Zavita.
Yeah, so we have the Serbian team. We don't know how to pronounce it. Then we
We
have
love
Young
Jokic.
Boys. Yeah, Jokic is a beast. Young Boys, Monaco, and Sparta. So yeah, first four the pot one, pot two teams really hard for Inter. I don't know too much about the other ones, but
They kind of, I
we'll
think
see.
they made it up for like the last four. I think this is one of those 50-50 splits.
Yeah,
Um, Monaco can be like a sneaky good team. I think. Young boys, I know sometimes they do good. Like they'll win a game, like when they were do in groups. Sometimes they'd win one game, but uh, that's about it.
Yeah, they look pretty good against Galatasaray. I actually saw like the highlights.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they look pretty good, but I
Oh,
don't know how they are compared to like the top teams for the top leagues. So
right.
it's a big difference there.
So we got Borussia Dortmund's, and they got Barcelona, Real Madrid, Shakhtar, Club Brugge, Celtic, Dynamo with Sturm Graz and Bologna.
Yeah,
Uh,
pretty easy for
hmm,
them.
not bad. Besides Real Madrid and Barcelona, which those are gonna suck for them.
Yeah,
All the other teams should, in theory, be beatable
yeah,
pretty easily. They
which should be
definitely
good for
got,
them.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
they got the easy. They might have gone like maybe one of the easier schedules because even like I thought Man City might have had the easiest schedule, but I don't know. I think Borussia has a pretty like you know coast worthy schedule.
yeah, but that's it. There's a couple of teams that got like pretty easy because I was reading. I know we're doing like the pot ones, but Celtic and Arsenal they came out winning. To be honest,
Oh,
because
really?
for Celtic they have Leipzig, Dortmund, Brugge, Atalanta, Young Boys, Dinamo, Bratislava, and Villa. They have like
Mm.
no big teams, so people are kind of optimistic on them making the top eight. And that's why I think it's like more fun now to watch Champions League because now it's not just like the top teams. Now you get like
No,
some
yeah.
people sneaking in there.
Oh, yeah. Especially when you have like a like PSG with their schedule, they can
Yeah,
easily lose out on top eight
yeah.
easily.
Honestly, even Real Madrid, they have a pretty tough schedule. So yeah, you may never know.
And then I guess we'll go on to RB Leipzig, who's got Liverpool, Inter, Juventus, Atleti, Sporting, Celtic, Aston Villa, and Sturm Graz. That's a pretty damn. That kind of this one kind of sucks for them.
Yeah, it's not easy
No,
because they
not
have
at
five
all.
teams there that could give them like work.
Celtic always seems to do like relatively okay in Champions League group play. I mean, typically, as far as I know, they don't really ever make it out of the group stages, but they will win some games. So that's one of those like, man, if like for these one-off games, and they're gonna be away, so it'll be Celtics home. So like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, that's another thing we have to look at, like who's home, who's away. So
and then finally we got Barcelona, who's got Bayern Munich, Dortmund, Atalanta, Benfica, Young Boys, Krenov, Zideva or whatever, and Brest and Monaco.
that's pretty good for them. That looks pretty good.
Except except the Bayern Munich game.
Yeah, but that was at home, so hopefully maybe they can
Hopefully it's
sneak out a
not
win.
11-0.
Yeah. Ugh. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
But yeah, so those are the is that pot one?
it's pop one.
Yeah, because I also want to look at Arsenal because Arsenal has a pretty decent one with
Yeah,
Paris,
what's
Inter.
Arsenal's schedule?
Yeah, it says Paris, Inter, Shakhtar, Atalanta, Dinamo, Sporting, Monaco, and Girona. So
That's not bad.
yeah, so people are really big on Arsenal making top eight pretty easily, especially that they're playing well.
Because basically it's just you got Paris, you got Inter, Girona. After that, like Atalanta should be, they should be able to beat them. Shakhtar,
Yeah,
Monaco. Like the
Sporting
only
that.
is really only three games that you go, oh man. But like Paris, they'll be playing at the Emirates, so like it'll be more in their favor. Inter and Girona, they're playing both those games away, so that kind of depends on when they're playing them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
again, like a lot of these, like because we're just going over just on paper, like how we view the teams, but a lot more honestly plays into this because of the scheduling. Like I think scheduling has like a huge impact on some of these teams and and like just how many games are winnable. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
because again, like we talked about earlier, like if Arsenal has to play Man City, you know. on a Saturday, and then they got to go play in Inter, you know, in Italy. Like
No,
I
yeah,
think,
that's gonna affect them a lot.
yeah.
And that's why I was looking at the schedule right now. So you have, hopefully, they have like their easier teams in September because they have Man City on the 22nd, and then in October they have Liverpool. So hopefully we have like the easier matches around there. I don't know. It's gonna be tough for Arsenal because they have Man City towards the end, and then they have Tottenham in the middle. So hopefully they're not
Mm.
too tired.
I think if you're any of these top teams, even like Arsenal, I don't know. I think maybe you want to play your stronger opponents first. In my opinion, I think you want to hit your stronger opponents like first, and then so that throughout the campaign, towards the end of like winter time, um, you want to face a Sporting or a Shakhtar or like a Monaco.
Yeah,
I would say towards the end, you don't want to face Inter Milan towards the end. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. It's gonna be kind of tough though because looking at their schedule, so Tottenham versus Arsenal is the 15th, mid September, and then 2 days later you have Arsenal versus Bolton for the EFL Cup,
Mm,
and then after that, on that weekend you have Man City. If it's after the 22nd, I think Arsenal's gonna be too tired to
yeah.
play like any good opponent.
I was reading something, and this one guy brought up a good point, and he's like, this model of Champions League is basically going to incentivize bigger teams, teams with more depth, because you're gonna have to make sure you have a good enough bench that you don't have to play the top 11 guys all the time because it's just gonna be too much.
No, yeah, and that's what was kind of funny earlier. It's because I was reading something that Chelsea was like ahead of the curve, and that's why they have like 50 players right now. They're trying to get ready for next year.
'Cause- n-
So what games are you excited about for the weekend though? Let's go back to the
oh
Premier
yeah,
League.
yeah. So going back to the Premier League, I still got Arsenal Brighton. I think it's gonna be a fun game to watch, even though like we talked about before, 4:30 in the morning. That's not great. Leicester and Aston Villa can be good.
That could be pretty good for sure. Man United versus Liverpool is one I want to watch
Yeah,
because I still haven't seen any announcement of like the lineup they're going to use. So we're not sure if Rashford is going to play, Garnacho is going to start over him.
yeah. They usually that they'll do that like Saturday morning or Sunday night. I
Yeah,
mean Friday night.
yeah. Because
But
also I've been seeing like Arsenal and like Man United kind of linked to Sterling. So I don't know. Maybe that could happen before the deadline.
so that's okay. So that's three. We got three games. Which one do
I
you think
kind
would
of
be?
I kind of want to see West Ham. To be honest, West Ham and Man
I do
City.
too. They've been doing pretty well to start the season,
Yeah,
and even though people would probably predict that Man City would just destroy them, you never know because like I said, they've been doing pretty good.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully it's a close game. Hopefully Man City loses, but we'll see. But yeah, that Brighton
Yeah,
Arsenal game is going to be pretty rough in the morning, but I'm going to try to get up for that one.
yeah. I will try to, but no promises.
Yeah, it's my turn this week.
Unfortunately, we still have full time jobs and stuff. So, um, but
Yeah,
if this was our job, I'd wake up at 3 in the morning.
I'll never sleep. I'm going to have like 8 monitors on my desk, play every single game.
Take notes.
Yeah, I'll be like L from Death Note, just like in the dark, watching my computer
Hell yeah.
screen. But
Oh,
yeah, but those are 4 games we're gonna watch. But I'm kind of excited for Chelsea after this past weekend.
no, yeah, that's why I kind of wanted to watch that game too. And honestly, I think that last game, I think I'll be able to probably watch most. Like I'll be able to watch West Ham Man City, and then because the Chelsea game is on Sunday morning,
Yeah.
so I should be able to watch that game too.
No, besides the Arsenal game, the other games are kind of on a decent time, at least for us.
Well, at least they're not all at 7 o'clock like last week. Last
Yeah.
week, literally like 80% of the games were on at the same time, and I'm like, well, I can't watch all of these.
Yeah.
But these are a little more spread out, so like I think I'll be able to watch a little bit more games this weekend.
But so what do you think is going to be the outcome for these games?
All right, Arsenal, Brian. I'll give the edge to Arsenal just because they're undefeated right now. They're doing good. Brian's doing good too, but I think Arsenal, they really are trying to win the league this year. They're really about like making up for the fact that they lost by 2 points last year.
Yeah.
You know, and hopefully this can be their sort of like anger, like I'm gonna get it, like by any means.
No. Yeah.
Uh, so I would give the edge to Arsenal against Brian, even though I think it will be a close game. Leicester and Aston Villa. Aston Villa is probably gonna win. Even though I've been rooting for my boy Jamie Vardy.
Yeah.
Uh, we're Red Bull brothers.
Yeah.
So as much as I want him and I want Leicester City to win, I just don't think it's gonna be against Aston Villa.
Yeah. No, I think Aston Villa is just playing pretty well right now.
I guess we'll just talk about both the games. So we got West Ham, Man City. Like we talked about before, Man City most likely. If I had money, I'd put my money on Man City winning. But I think this is a good way for the same way that it was for Chelsea in the beginning of the season. I think for West Ham, they're gonna lose, but I think it's gonna be a good stress test to see just how far they really are from top four. Because
Yeah.
I think if they keep it close, like if they lose, say 2-0 like Chelsea did, but it happens the same way where like they're in the game and then Man City just scores towards the end of the game. I think you can go, okay, well, we have talent, we have the means to go for it. Now, if they get just like demolished 6-0 throughout the whole game, then you go, you know,
Yeah. And also, if they lose like 2-0 or maybe even 2-1, I feel like people are not going to be as afraid of Man City as in the past. Like, I feel like people are going to be more confident, especially like the better teams. They're going to feel like, oh, now we can actually like kind of take a couple games from them. Yeah, because especially I was like looking at the the Julian Alvarez trade actually is kind of affecting him a little bit because they don't really have like a striker that could like replace Holland and like their tactics.
and if Holland gets hurt or anything like that, like that's real bad. Like
Yeah,
hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully he can stay healthy or whatever. But and especially with Champions League coming up and all that, like it's like man, well, how who do you replace or like who do you put in his place for some of these games? Like the games that you go, hey, we're not going to play him today because we want to
yeah,
save him for like say a Champions League fixture or whatever. Granted, they still got a lot of depth. You know, they still are Man City, but like I said, I think that there's something this year that's just like, and I don't know, maybe even if it's the Pep contract thing, maybe it might be like subconsciously playing a part. It'll be interesting to see as the season develops.
then lastly we have
The Man United Liverpool game. Okay. All right. So, as a United fan, I want to be like, they're beatable. We can do this. But given their recent like couple games, I am not so certain that we can just walk in and just beat Liverpool. We talked about in the last podcast that I made the analogy that Liverpool are like the San Antonio Spurs in basketball, where they're so consistently good all the time that people don't talk about them and people don't like. I think teams can sometimes go like, oh well, it's Liverpool, they don't got Klopp right now, they're whatever, we got this, and the underplay, not realizing that like, oh no, but like Liverpool still is very good,
yeah.
you know. So as a United fan, I'm gonna be rooting for United to win, but deep down in like, I just think that they're gonna lose.
I don't know. I feel like they're also kind of their last couple games kind of sketchy, not super clean. We don't know what's gonna happen with Rashford, and I don't know. We're gonna see what happens because something tomorrow news might drop that they pick up someone.
They get Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah, can you imagine? Uh, but yeah, I feel like Liverpool is gonna be pretty. I think it's not gonna be too hard for Liverpool to win. I'm hoping for a better match. I'm hoping for like a sweaty like 1-1.
like I said, like I think Liverpool's gonna probably easily win this game, but yeah, but I want, like I said, I want United to win, and and I also think that they have a chance. I'm not saying that they don't have zero chance that to win. They have a chance to win this game.
Yeah,
But they're gonna have to really like hone in, and really like lock in.
yeah. Oof, I don't know. We'll see. Vegas has
Yeah.
it mostly a draw. Actually, no, they have it
Really?
Liverpool winning. No, they have Liverpool winning.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I'm like, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. But those are the four matches for the week that we're planning on watching. Yeah, but we're excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for this year for football, the new Champions League, Premier League.
I mean, it's
So
gotten off to a good start. Each week has been pretty exciting. There's been something going on, and that's not even like the fact that like there's like stuff going on in La Liga this year. I mean, with the Real Madrid thing, unfortunately, but you have uh Serie A. Apparently, like they got some pretty good games going on this week, or the last week and stuff like that. So I may or may not leave this in the podcast. I don't know, but I thought it was funny. So when I was editing the podcast for Sunday or Monday morning's podcast, um when we were saying our goodbyes and the music goes in or whatever, I
mhm.
left in the see you later alligator.
Oh,
Dude, it's so fucking funny when I listen back to it. I just like laughing so fucking hard. I thought that shit was so funny.
oh my god. But yeah, so it's kind of chaotic towards the end. But yeah, no, I'm excited for football this year. I've always been like more of a La Liga watcher, but I can see why Premier League is like one of the top leagues. It's like super exciting every week. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this show. You have anything else,
Yeah.
Eric?
Nah. It's about it. Thank you everyone for listening. Whoever listened this far. And I guess we'll talk to you guys uh on Monday morning. We'll see you guys.
Yeah. All right, then, guys.
Yeah.
Peace.
Bye.